Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Monday, March 17th, 2025. We have our new setup. You saw the weekend. We did the higher time frames. Now we're going to focus on the daily and the 65. We're also going to key in on indicators and show you why I think that we are bullish. We're buying the dip. We're in buy the dip mode until otherwise, and I'll show you where those targets are as well. All right, so we're doing this intraday about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And by the way, happy St. Patty's Day. So if you're interested in getting these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube member. It's only 99 cents to start, 99 cents a month for the Discord trade alerts. And then if you want individual analysis, which today we went over all of the options expected moves for the MAG 7 group, which by the way, I will start incorporating eventually as I begin to chart the MAGs ETF. I think this is a situation where just like when SMH came out in 1999, it went straight up and then straight down to brand new lows, way down, way down, way down. And then there was a great opportunity to buy later on. We'll go through that some other time. I think the same thing's going to happen with the MAGs. So, all right, we're going to start off with SPX on the daily time frame. We're looking at this so far. It looks like a bounce. There's going to be traders talking about this being a wave 4 and another move down. I don't think that's the case. I think our lows are in. We can look at the options tender setup here with the MACD, RSI, and the slow stoke. So we have on the right here on the MACD, we're looking at it's starting to curl up here. So is it back testing? We get a new low? Well, I don't really think so. You could call that a little divergence. I just think that's a low, and I think we'll start creating a downtrend and get positive divergence as we continue the descent lower with lower highs. But right now, I think we're in that bounce already. So you had the histogram you had a low here, and then you did have a positive divergence with the histogram going from that low to that low. You see, on price, you made a lower low. On the histogram, you made a higher low. All right, same thing with the RSI. We knew we had a positive divergence at that point. So add that in there. It did whip us around a little bit. We had gone long on this positive divergence, and that all that created was sort of a bear flag, and then broke down to a new low from there. But a higher low, lower low in price, higher low on RSI. So now I think this is cycling through. We broke that downtrend there. Now we're just testing the highs. I do think we still have to form some market structure. Now, do we go directly higher to the 200 moving average, or do we make a little bit of structure? We're going to take a look at the 65 pretty soon here, and I think I'll be able to answer that for you. So we had a slow stoke here, it cycled through. There's negative divergence there in the highs, and now we're getting that sell signal here. And as we came down here, we had a new low. All right. And again, while price made a new low, the slow stochastic made a higher low. We had positive divergence, and that's starting to cycle. We got a buy signal, and it's starting to cycle to the upside. We're not going to look at the reversal. We had that DMARC again. Right now, we're just update the DMARC. We had that 9 exhaustion. Now we're starting to account to the upside. We have a 1-2. Perhaps we build some market structure and get a 9 count to the upside. We'll see how that develops. Awesome oscillator. Okay, starting to get a green bar here. And I do think that when this fully cycles through, we get our dead cat bounce, rally to much higher prices. I think that will test up here to the 0 line. So we'll pay attention to that as we go. I want to look at these indicators each and every day so we can, we'll do these on SPY. All right. So we want to do this each and every day to see how things develop. I want to show you the process of looking at these indicators and how we use them. And we don't have volume. The money flow index uses volume, and so we can't use that on any SPX. So we'll go ahead and go over, first of all, here's a traditional look. We had that buy area that we're looking at. Got lower there, but you see where we're having trouble is we're still in that chop zone from previous consolidation. So that's what's creating support and resistance. I know we spiked through. That's because volatility was really high. Okay, so we're testing that point, and I think it's likely that we have a move down here to about 5,600 or 560 on SPY just to reach the other point. We don't have to. Now on the 65, what I want to show you, this looks like we're getting a reversal signal that is possible if IWM and DIA let go. Clearly tech is already weak. Let's go to SPY. It's another way to look at things here. Yeah, we might as well go directly to the money flow. Money flow index, we had this oversold situation. You see this is very good at pointing out reversals. Even have hidden divergences here. So those were positive. Now, in the near term, we had a lower low going into price. And this formed a divergence there. All right, so you had a move lower, but in the money flow index, we made a higher low there. All right, so it's very small, but that's what created this bounce, or in my opinion, this reversal. And I think this reversal, and then we'll have a higher bounce. Let's go to the Bollinger Band, and now we have a setup here. Before I was just showing you the Bollinger Band, and we knew that the RSI was oversold, but now we can see the actual setup. So this is a buy setup here, and I can turn those divergences off. So what we're looking at is sorry, I had a few things drawn on here. Now what we're looking at is a positive divergence and oversold conditions into a sell into the bottom of the Bollinger Band. So that's a buy signal. That's a setup there. There's so many setups you could do in trading. You have to choose yours, best one. And I like to show this one, even though I don't specifically use it when I pull the trigger. And last but not least, a very, very important, this is the most important oscillator that I want to show you I want to do this one as SPX because I have it marked up. There we go. So this is the most important one that I want to show you each and every day as we develop new things here. So I'm looking at this downtrend, and we got into this oversold territory. I know it's not deeply oversold, but I do think this is going to continue in a downtrend, and it will get to that point where it's a deeply oversold condition, and then eventually a positive divergence. But in the meantime, this trend here is over. We broke out from this downtrend, and now we're starting to get to that positive territory. I do think we'll get overbought, and then we'll pull back. And I'll show you the kind of the setup that I think is happening. So then we'll pull back, and then we'll probably make a new high, even at some point make a divergent high before continuing the downtrend lower. Okay, right now we technically, and I did a short on YouTube. Technically, this is not a downtrend. Yeah, in the near term, in the 65-minute, you have a downtrend, and we're starting to break that trend, right? But in the daily time frame, this is just a low. We don't have a lower high yet, and we don't actually have a confirmation of a downtrend on the daily time frame and higher time frames until we break this low after our bounce. So that's why we're going to get new buyers in here. We're going to get all bulled up, and we're going to say, hey, we're going to brand new all-time highs. I don't think that's the case. Take that here. Okay, so going back to SPY. On SPY, I just want to show the different boards here. That's our traditional look. We're at the bottom of that megaphone formation, and we broke back into it. So what could happen is at this resistance here, we could possibly backtest and continue higher. That's one scenario. The other is that we actually are consolidating right now and we continue higher. So either one we're looking into. Going to this board here, we're already at the 23.6 retracement from this entire move. That's why we're getting a little trouble here. So again, this could be a lower degree A, B, C, and I'm looking for this 382 target for perhaps the C wave. It doesn't have to. If we go A, B, and then launch with some sort of catalyst, maybe the FOMC, we can get a nice large C wave, okay? But this possibly just could be an ABC for just a larger A wave, and then pull back for a B, and then launch off for a C, okay? So we're trying to see how this develops, and the B wave is not typically very fun, so we'll see again. Now, time and price, we have something coming up at March 20th, so we'll see what happens in about 3 days. That's the 19th. This FOMC. We'll see. Maybe we'll have a top on the 20th, or maybe FOMC forces us lower for the B wave, and then we have a low into the 20th. Okay, lots of possibilities. So we have to let price action tell us. But right now, we just have a straight line. There's no market structure. We don't have any sort of high or low. It's just boom. Just one little line there. So we'll see how the setup comes into play. All right, and you can see here, this was our buy zone. Clearly price got underneath with volatility, but we're still in this zone. We still need to bounce off of it. So perhaps we get a little bit higher, then we pull back. Let's go over to QQQ. The Qs, I'm not going to go through all the indicators with those. We just want to get our look here. That's, again, our megaphone bottom there. We're pulling back above it after this volatility spike through. And we're back into that range here again. We have a gap right here. We have that huge gap. We're probably going to test pretty soon. Not much to say here. You'll see this is kind of the standard. What I'm thinking is that IWM, I can't tell if this is a 1-2, 1-2 yet, or did we get some sort of 1, 2, 3, and then because of wave 2 was so large that perhaps we have a really small wave 4 in there. That's a possibility. I do think this is going to be weaker, or really this could develop. Maybe we make a new low, and then we get our full range here. There's not a whole lot I can say. This is support. We're at support. There's no doubt about it. That's a really good support at that, where you have a whole volume shelf here, and then you have prior resistances. So we'll see what happens off IWM. Not trading it, not clear what it wants to do, but it looks very similar to the rest of the market so far. And it has relative strength today. Again, I talked about on the weekend DIA, and I think it's doing exactly what I was talking about, where you see that tech is weak today, and all DIA is just showing strength, and I think it's just a counterbalance at this point. But this does look like the market structure could be incomplete here, and that DIA actually gets pretty weak as tech goes strong. So there could be some rotation, in other words. Easier way to say it. VIX. Here's our daily time frame. I drew a channel here, so let's see if we start obeying this channel, and perhaps we go back down to the end of the range and then back to up to the top of the range. We'll see how long this can last. It does look like it's just in an uptrend using that channel at this point. So maybe we'll form another wedge inside of here and break back to the upside. Let's see. So far, just breaking down from zones, and it looks like the next zone here for anything is 19. So by the looks of this, again, maybe this keeps falling in the market. It just continues to go higher, and I'll show you exactly why. Let's look at SMH, and then we'll go to SPY in the 65, and I'll show you what I am looking for those two scenarios. So here we're having a little bit of issues with the bounce because of this megaphone. And, you know, I didn't show the moving averages on SPY. So on all the indices, we're fighting with the 8 EMA. And I need to show that a lot more often because that's such an important momentum indicator. But this one, we had our megaphone that was filling out, and we're just back testing that. So this says to me that we want to pull back, but we'll see how that goes. So let's revisit SPY real quick and just use our OptionsTender setup. And this is when I should have shown it here. And we have our 200 moving average, but look at the 8 EMA. This is what they all look like except SMH, where they're pushing not only into resistance above, but having trouble with the 8 EMA here. And so our next level, whether we pull back here or not, or just consolidate today, maybe we gap up tomorrow, is the 200 moving average with the downtrend. Okay, let's go to 65. And now I can give you a little bit more detail. And at 65, we have the bullish falling wedge here. And ignore this candlestick. I need to fix that manually. That is not real. We had a 5-wave move up here. So I still think that's a 5-wave move. But what's happening right now, I feel like we're just going sideways. We're going to have a narrow range here, and that's a triangle. I do believe this is going to be the B wave. That's what it looks like on the lower time frame. On the higher time frame, it's so confusing because we're forming a reversal type candle. So with this consolidation happening, we're in the 4th or 5th hour here. It looks like a triangle. You see it tightening. I think this is going to break to the upside. So that could be our A. And now we're forming just a sideways move as a B. And then we're going to continue higher into tomorrow and the FOMC into a wave C. Now, what this also could, if you really get tight in here, you can see that this was a possible, I'm not going to draw it in, inverse head and shoulder. And that's what I showed in the Discord yesterday, or Friday. It was inverse head and shoulder, and we broke out. And so you see, we're just holding above it, holding and consolidating sideways rather than in price. So this could be the situation where we just go sideways and then break out. Okay, that's what appears to start happening here. I didn't short, I'm not looking to short the market. This is a buy the dip. Now I will tell you, I'm going to short the market if we get directly to this point. We're going to be oversold or overbought, we're going to have a setup, we're going to have resistance, all these things. I'm going to look for some sort of pullback because I think this will just be an A. And then we need some sort of B. It doesn't have to be crazy. You know, it could test the lows. And it could go midway. You know, a lot of things. B waves are very difficult, but we should catch a little scalp to the downside at minimum. And or just take profit. So that's what I want to show there. And then I want to get used to showing this is the most important indicator here for me. And so I want to continue to show you, we had this range here and we finally caught a low and broke out of that range. Let me bring these out a little bit higher. So let me start off with the MACD. We're doing this newly, so I'll get more in a rhythm with showing you this. We had the positive divergence in the MACD when we made a low and then a lower low. Here we made a higher low in the MACD. That was our first divergence in the MACD. That gave us a clue that we were going to start cycling to the upside. I don't think that's over. Momentum is pretty much straight up still. So I think this will continue higher, even if we do get a slight pullback. Now, again, we're going sideways here right now. So this could go even higher. We're barely into the overbought territory. We're only at like a 72 there. So this could continue, could burn past this one and continue higher, all the way up into, it could go 80s or so, and even 90. Tesla does that often. I'm not saying it's going to, but to get to the options expected move to the upside. Now, speaking of Tesla, we're going to have some participation from them too. So what this is going to have to do in the slow stoke, so we could see that burn higher, or this could back test that trend. We don't know what that end result's going to be yet. So this has a sell signal, early sell signal here. But what could happen on the slow stoke if we continue to have momentum to the upside and we have participation from from tech as well, rather than just DIA and IWM, we could see this oscillate up higher. Okay, this could oscillate a little higher. This could just continue to bounce back and forth until we get to a point where we have a true sell signal and continuation. All right, and like I said, we'll keep monitoring this as we go. So the DMARC, we'll just see how this goes. We want to constantly look. We have a 9 count exhaustion. So this doesn't change anything from what I just said. This is a sell signal here, but we're just consolidating sideways. So it shows exhaustion in this move. So we got the brunt of that move there. Now we consolidate. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 hour candles. And this could break to the other upside and give us another 9 count. We could get a 9-9 into a sell, into a B wave. Awesome oscillator, positive. We're in the positive zone. This could go back to the 0 line and then continue higher. That's possible. Going to the money flow index, that's for our daily time frame. We're not going to go into those. Bollinger Band we'll look at real quick. So we've touched this in an overbought situation, so that's a sell signal. That sell isn't bringing down price, but it is forcing time consolidation. So this could do the same thing. Again, this could burn through. Look how high these are. This is easily 80, 82 or so. This one's all the way up at about 88. We have plenty of room to the upside to be over. It's a strong condition. The market's strong, and we're not forming any divergences. We don't have anything like that. So this could just continue to grind higher, and we need participation from the Qs in order to do that. Now see, it does look like we're actually trying to break out. All right, so going into today, 17th, it looks like we have a little bit of a cluster. Do we get a top today? Perhaps we break out, go a little bit higher, and then we start wave B, okay? So let's see what happens at the results of today. Going into tomorrow, do we have a gap down? That could form a top. So we do have some time and price happening. Let's see where price ends up at the end of the day here. Okay, and if it does start to pull back, we do have a 50-60% lower, and that would be the 556 to the 558 to 556 zone. It'd be typical to have a bounce, but again, B waves can be deep. This could be a flat pattern. If this is a 535, then that's a zigzag, and we'd probably pull back to the 556. If this is a flat pattern, this could come all the way down to the 887, even make a new low, and then you get a slingshot for a wave C higher. So all those things we have to look out for. But right now, you can see the 23.6 retracement that we've had some problems here. We consolidated, and now you see price pushing. So the next point to me is that 574. That 574 is at that 382, where we start getting into the gap area. This could reject off of the gap immediately if we have a negative divergence here after we make a new high and we get to gap resistance. Maybe that's the cue where B wave comes in. Okay. What else can we look at here? Let's go to the cues. Let's go around the horn and in this video, get it out to you. On the 65, here's a closer look, just playing around with the bottom of this megaphone, but the price gapped back above it. It's clear that this is important because price was rejecting off the bottom, then gapped over and kept going. So we have our bullish falling channel here. We have the breakout, and now we have a little consolidation. We're continuing. So maybe price gets again to the gap here and also resistance at 484, and then starts building some market structure. So we just don't have that answer. I thought we would reject faster off of here, but now we're getting like a cup and handle type action here. We don't even have a right shoulder, no back test, anything. So maybe this continues to grind higher. With IWM, this one is showing relative strength here overall, and I don't think price is going to go much lower in the indices if this doesn't get a little bit weaker too. So this is kind of saving tech at this point, allowing tech to get some traction, and it's pushing a little bit higher too. It's at resistance, but you see it's doing the same thing, forming some sort of little triangle there. All right, and again, some relative strength in DIA. We have the options expected moves here. I don't know if you notice the other ones, but you can definitely pause the videos and grab those options expected moves for SPY, QQQ, IWA, and the diamonds here. I do think the upper end is where we end up, but don't forget, this is going to be a very volatile week. We have options expiration, and we should see this grind to the upside. We're gonna see some sort of pullback. I don't know which, if it's going to be today or tomorrow or FOMC, but this is going to give us some pullbacks here. And then ultimately, I think we end up at the options expected move. Maybe that's first and then we get a pullback, but I do think we end up at the upper end. And I think Friday, if we end up with price lower on Friday, I think that will definitely be a big moving day. So here's VIX. It's breaking down. We're sort of forming some type of wedge here, but it's grinding down lower on this wedge. Or now it's a channel. I have a nice channel there. So maybe this keeps grinding lower, but eventually we're going to see a pop, and then probably even another move. So look forward to this options expected move on the lower end, and look to see if this channel holds for the VIX, and that should guide us higher in the market. All right, one last look at SPY. Just time-wise, overall, we had our breakout here. Let's see if we can get some sort of move lower eventually, and then we're looking for the true breakout from this downtrend line here. Whether that's going into FOMC or if it's going into Friday, whatever the case is, we have the catalyst for FOMC. So if we're lower into FOMC, we're looking to go long pretty hard. All right. But if we're higher into FOMC, I'm going to look for a pullback first into some supports, perhaps the bottom of that large wedge that we keep talking about, the megaphone, and then higher prices after that. All right, that's what I got for you. Hope this is a better setup. We can get to details of the market, and then by the end of the week, we'll look at those larger picture timeframes. But this should keep you right on track here each and every day. So thanks for joining us here at OptionsTender. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.